Hi, everybody. This is Nancy from Thisoverstuffedhouse. I've got one of my vintage fairy t-shirts on. Can't find these cool things anymore. Um, I'm just letting you know that I'm not going to be able to do a live tonight. I had the Duralane injections into my knee. Actually, I had it into both knees for the first time this time around. One of the knees has decided to swell. Now, I've already been back to the doctor. They put a needle in. They took out a bunch of fluid, but it's still very sore and still swollen a bit. So I am to not bend it as much as possible tonight to just try to keep, things moving in the leg. So it's made life interesting. So I'm not going to be able to be there tonight. And I really was hoping to have a live chat. But it's not really feasible. Here on the bed, I have to hold the phone up with one hand. And I'll give you, look who's here. It's an Aragorn who disappeared on us yesterday and finally came back with the first crack of thunder from a storm that came in last night, yesterday evening. Luckily, no limbs hit my house, but he's been very clingy now that he's back in the house. But this time, I took his collar off and I took a Sharpie marker and I wrote Aragorn and my phone number on it because he's not supposed to be outside. So I am going to spend this evening, as I have this afternoon. Michael has checks on me and has refreshed the ice packs as needed. And I'm going to get I finished that one Prince of Darkness, so now I had to get Dracula out of the library so I could read. It's been decades since I've read Dracula. Probably, I'm about to be 60, so yeah, it's probably been 40 years since I've read Dracula. So I'm going to continue reading that for this evening. There's not much else I can do. Really. I had so much trouble getting up the steps to be able to get up to my own room. It was a real challenge. So see if I can do it with that hand because this arm's getting tired. The good update is that I have a script for physical therapy. We have found that the muscles have, on the side that I had the stroke, on my left side, the hip muscles have deteriorated so much that's why I keep having pain at one spot in my back, that the naproxen's not touching, and I couldn't find a trigger point for. So it didn't seem like it was related to the pinched nerve, but he manipulated it, and the whole hip bone went thunk, and I saw stars. So the muscles have atrophied a bit, and they're not holding the hip itself in the position it should be. So I've got physical therapy now. I will have to get that sorted out. I'll have to go over to where Pivot Therapy is and talk to them to find out what days of the week and when that starts. But that's a good thing. I asked for it. I said, look, these muscles are getting too problematic, and my balance has gotten very iffy. So let's send me back. And I had asked about it the last time, and he says, well, let's think about it, and we'll talk about it when you come back for the Duralane shot. Duralane. And so we did. So yay! I'm also down. I'm down some more weight. So I am down to 298. Still way too much, but that's good because I had almost started gaining back what I had lost before, and then we hit summer camp. So that was great because then it stopped that nonsense and brought it back down. I don't have food stamps anymore. But I've never gotten a notice as to why, so I don't know what's going on there. because that paid for me to be able to have a salad every day, because salad stuff is expensive. Any kind of fresh food, fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, the prices are getting crazy. So we'll see what I can manage. Just keep plugging away. Trying to think if there's any other news. Scout starts the end of the month. Mike's going to be away for a trip with the first years this weekend. So the first Scout trip of the year, Mike's going on. Other than that, yeah, nothing going on yet. I won't be on the September trip. I will be on the October one, because that's wilderness survival. And I don't think any of these men know how to build cooking fires, which is legit a thing. I know 2 different kinds. I prefer the V one, because then if you do the V one and you have pots of different sizes, you can keep them, you can have them rest on the logs. I know also how to cook stuff on a flat stone, if you can find the right kind. You can cook on a stone if you have the right one. So I'll be teaching all about cooking without utensils, chunk I'm going to be doing. Because that's what I got taught that when I was an Explorer Scout. And the guy who taught us was a retired ranger from the Army. That's where I found out about eating crickets and grasshoppers, but I've not, no. I still don't want to, all these years later, I still don't want to try that grasshopper thing, no. So we're also staying in a cabin, so I'll have a cot instead of having to worry about trying to crawl in and out of a tent. That still hasn't really been tested yet after all this time. So that's coming up. I've got stuff for Briggs auction I'm still working on. I've sent them pictures of some of what I already have together. They're good with everything so far. I don't have my 10 full lots packed up yet, though. But we're still working on that. We'll get there. So everything's going slow, but going, which is a good thing. And we're due for more rain. The garden for the Scouts is, because it had gone fallow for so long, there's a ton of weeds in that thing. You know, we're out there weeding every time they're here, but the challenge is like some things, like I've never grown spinach before, so I'm not sure what that plant should look like as a small one, but I don't think any of that, those were older seeds, and I don't think any of that came up. But looks like we're going to have plenty of this specialty eggplant. It grows about this, it grows like a cucumber. Not as thick though, so it'll be like that thick, but they grow very long. Looks like we're going to have an abundance of those, which I'm fine with that, of that particular eggplant. And the pepper plants, the tomatoes, the cucumbers, the melon plant. I said, which melon did she grab? Cantaloupe. Those vines are all going crazy. They're doing well. The cucumber ones are completely covered, and so are the melon ones with flowers. So that merit badge plot out there is doing well, except for the abundance of weeds. But it's gone fallow for so long, and I've already pulled out. Yesterday I pulled out 25 pokeberry plants that were coming up, and there's still more in there. So I only got 2/3 of it out, and it's a 4 by 8 foot garden, and I took over 20 out just from the one end over to just slightly past the middle. There's still more, so they got to come out. But yeah, everything's good except the knee, you know. I've had these shots before. I've not had a problem before, but apparently it can, even if you've had it successfully before, you can suddenly have it be a problem where the knee your immune system attacks it and sends all this fluid and everything to the knee and tries to defend it as your immune system is supposed to. But then that causes massive swelling. Mike drove me. We went, got the shots. We stopped somewhere for lunch. And the whole time we were eating, my knee was getting tighter and tighter. And I'm like, yeah, I think we need to call and see about going back. It had started swelling up that quickly. So he thinks it's because I got stung by a bee on the back of that leg, right up behind, almost behind the knee. It's like about an inch down from the crease of your leg, but the crease of the back of the knee. And so my immune system's already going for that, because you could see, like, Mike didn't realize it. He was trying to see if there was a stinger, so the poison spot he squeezed, well, then that just spreads it a little further. And so I've got this size like this, with which the swelling of that today has gone completely down. But it's still, that little area is red. It's hot to the touch. And he thinks it's a problem of my immune system's already, like, working on trying to heal that. And I'm allergic to bees. I came in and immediately found some Benadryl and took 4 of them, because I could tell, even, it's one of those tiny little ground bees. Even from that being in the back of my leg, I hadn't realized it till I started looking for the Benadryl, that my lips were already starting to swell up. And I thought, well, it's not going to be long before then the tongue does. Last time I got bit by one of those tiny little buggers, it bit me right here, and everything, like mouth, tongue, throat, started to close up immediately. This time it was in a different part of my body, and it took longer to start having some kind of reaction, but I still had a reaction. So he thinks that's part of the problem. Why this time the knee swelled up so quickly. So it's okay though. I got told to come home, take more Benadryl. But he had me come back right from us being out at lunch. He had me come back, and they went in with 4 needles all around the kneecap and drained some of this excess fluid. And if it gets too bad, then I am supposed to call the emergency line if it swells up again. So far, it's gotten puffy, but not like solid, swollen, stretched tight skin like it had when we first went back. But so hopefully that's it. It seems to be. I mean, I fell asleep and just woke up now with, I had Arwen on one side and Aragorn on top of my knee, the other knee, the good knee. His head resting on it. So, little mama's boy. So that's the results of that, and it was unexpected, but I am not going to be able to get downstairs to be able to do a live, and I haven't even really tried, like, to even get out of my own room. I can get out onto the front of the house, but then there's 2 steps down to a landing. And then there's either a staircase, or you take one more step up to get to the 1935 back of the house where Michael's room is and a bathroom is. So I haven't even tried that yet. I do know, just from sitting up in the bed, bending it still hurts. So there's no way I'm going to be able to try doing the steps. Not right now. He wants me to aggravate it as little as possible. So his answer was, his orders were, if it hurts, stop that. Just don't do that. Don't give it any excuse to swell up more. So, oh, wow. I'm looking like my grandfather here. That's got to go. So, I'm sorry to miss you. Mike will be away, and as long as this thing heals up quickly, maybe I can do a work with me this weekend. because I'm not leaving. So we'll aim for that. As you noticed, there was no video on Sunday. I'm still working on this software, trying to learn it, to get the video. Oh, and I had to be careful about the stuff for Longwood Gardens. They have signs all over the place. You're not allowed to do photo shoots for profit. I'm not sure if YouTube falls under the thing of this, so I'll probably just be showing you snippets. I didn't film a lot once I saw that, because it just kind of was like, you weren't allowed to do stuff for personal monetary gain, and I'm like, well, I don't know, I kind of fall in the middle there. It's not like I'm making postcards out of the pictures. So I'm not sure. I'm going to look up Longwood Gardens and see if there's other YouTubers that have videos there, because, I mean, you're advertising one of the most fabulous botanical gardens on the East Coast. It's really a good one. So I can't see why you couldn't, as a person, just show off the really cool plants we saw. So I better go. I see a little girl who's deciding she's going to try to climb my bookcase again. Arwen, what are you doing? Yeah, you. Now, don't blink slow at me and then continue. No. What are you doing? Get back here. Come on. Come here. Good girl. Wow. Good girl. She's a good girl. Ignore the pile. More stuff to work on. So that's good. You actually listened. She's got this thing about there's a box that has vintage feathers, ostrich feathers, fancy stuff for hats. And I need to get it on Etsy, but she keeps trying to get up the bookcase with no success, except knocking a lot of stuff over to get to it. So you have to keep an eye on that when she's in here. All right, guys, I've prattled on enough. I hope. Oh, thanks, girl. I know you want a petting. So I hope you guys have a good weekend. And I will see you when I see you. And no, we don't need cat butt. She's banging the phone. Okay, I think she wants attention. So I'm going to go. Have a great weekend, guys.